So let's start from the beginning, and the beginning is introduction. So uh, I I can start. So my name is Filipe Carrera, and I have an experience as a speaker and a trainer, and also as a college professor. And I have been working in more than 50 countries across 4 continents. So uh, it would be nice also if you could put from which country you are connecting, so we can also understand how international our audience is. I see that there are people from the Emirates, also from Kuwait, from the United States, from Portugal. So, but it would be nice that I know that from the names, but other people are not. We have somebody from Syria also. Allah is here. Yeah, I know Allah also. So, and oh, snowy Michigan. We have nice weather here in Portugal. I'm based in Portugal, and I have been going not only for training in person and speaking in person, but also a lot of online courses and webinars. And this last month has been absolutely crazy. I've been doing webinars like today. I did only 2, so it is going. Before I was doing like once a month, and now it's like 2 a day. So a little bit different. So I need to do one more thing here. And okay, so Sadiq, can you present yourself?
Sure. And some of you I know, some of you I don't, but my name is Sadiq Love. And yeah, that is my real last name, Love. And I'm based here in Northern Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. In a nutshell, I'm a performance consultant. So I help people in organizations improve performance. Like my colleague and friend here, I haven't worked in 50 countries. I've done 32 at this point. Yeah, so you win. And so lots of travels throughout the Gulf Coast, the Gulf region, of course, Southeast Asia, things like that. And my claim to fame is really around facilitation training, and then of course the performance consulting and helping managers and leaders be better. Have a little bit of a hoarse voice, has nothing to do with the virus. It's just because I'm drinking a lot. No, I'm just kidding. Sparkling water, but yeah, so that's who I am, and looking forward to having this dialogue. And I don't know, should we tell them very quickly how you and I met before we dive into the discussion?
Can you do that? How we met, because it's like how I met your mother or something like that.
Yeah, it was pretty much like that. So what was it? It was Mexico. Was that the first place, or
No,
was
I think
that,
we
or was it
met
before?
first in the States, but the most fun it was in Mexico. That's for sure.
Yeah, so we met in the States, but that didn't really count because we actually had a lot of fun in Mexico City, where we were speakers on for the ATD Mexico Summit, I think in 2015. And we just connected. You know how sometimes you connect with people, and Filipe, that's what he and I did. We had a blast. We took a tour of Mexico City together, and been dear friends ever since. So it's always a joy to work with you, my friend, and this is going to be fun as we extract information from our peers here. So let's get started.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a conversation. Normally, I see that this kind of webinars is like somebody like presenting some PowerPoints and things like this, very, very, very boring. And I prefer to be a dialogue. So I want to Sadiq to give his view about what he's feeling about the training market after the crisis, because this is a transition moment. We are living in a transition moment, and we can have 2 attitudes. One is like, oh my God, everything is going down the drain. So it's the end of the world as we know it, basically. Or we can think, okay, it is the end of one world that we knew it, but maybe we have to adapt to another one. How we have to do it, what we should do. And that is the type of questions that I think I want to go directly to what are your concerns. So we have this dialogue instead of, oh yes, this is my truth, because I believe that neither Sardik or I are owners of the truth. So we have some views about it. We have some experience that creates that view, but it's not clearly the main view. I put, by the way, I put here a kind of poll that is, you go to a website that is menti.com. I'm trying to put again on the chat window. You go to menti.com and you can put this code 46337362, and you can give your opinion. And I will start, if you don't mind, Sardik, I will start from my side.
Absolutely, go for it.
I think that people that think that after this crisis it will be business as usual are making a huge mistake. There are lots of opportunities in the training business that will come because when you have a disruption, you have change. And when you have change, you need to help people to change. I always say that a trainer, somebody also in communication, they are agents of change, and they can be for good change or bad change. So there were fantastic communicators that were bringing bad changes. Okay, we can always think about some dictators that were fantastic in communication and brought bad changes. So we can bring some positive change and we can help people to do this transition. But in order to do that transition, we need to understand what is the world coming to be in the next months. So that's what I want to work with you guys. I think, in my view, because actually I do a lot of training in digital marketing, in digital communication, etc. Maybe it's because of that. I think that the world will be more digital than ever, that people will work more remotely, and training has to adapt to it. And we have to create new services even that we don't even thought it would be possible because there was no market. And suddenly there is, because we are living the biggest experience worldwide in remote work, in distance learning. Everything is never in the history of mankind so many people turn digital. So in a nutshell, this is my kickoff. So Sardik, what is your opinion?
So agreed with you 100%. I think also, in addition to what you're saying, Filipe, the challenge for most training professionals is going to be the fact that many of us weren't digital or as digital as we should be. And when you think about what's going to be after this pandemic stops, and we're going to get into this a lot deeper, but I think it's important for us to all understand, to your point on change, the big challenge for all of us is a lot of this is not going to go back. This is not like a rubber band that's stretched out and it's going to snap back fully. You know, you're going to have the social distancing with the recurrence of the pandemic until the vaccine is introduced. You're going to have intermittent type of things where companies are going to figure out, and I'm going to give you 4 things and then stop talking here on this, but we've got to be faster, better, cheaper, and more effective or efficient at what we do. And I think by going digital like we are doing now, there's going to be a way where companies will figure out how to do things faster, better, cheaper, and more efficiently. And they're going to figure out what can be done outside their normal traditional workflows and things like that. For the training professional, man, I got to tell you, if we don't prepare, we're going to get left behind. So everything, and I'm going to just leave it at this frame, everything you do as a training professional after this pandemic, you got to ask yourself, yes, what is it that you're doing? How is it going to make things faster, better, cheaper, and more efficient? Because if you don't hit those 4, and I'm saying all 4, you're going to be in trouble, because change is going to come on you and be invoked on you.
I would even go a little bit further. I think that people that are coming out of this, when we will come out of this crisis, people that don't have digital skills are the first to go out of the door.
Absolutely. Totally agree. You're gone.
So
yes.
I think that in this period, who doesn't have, who is not used to, especially in the training business, experiment. Now every mistake is not a problem because everybody's trying. Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody's judging because everybody's trying. So it is the perfect moment. Afterwards, it will be worse.
And I want to emphasize that right there. That's an excellent point. In massive disruptive change, pain allows you to make mistakes. People are a lot more forgiving. So if you're going to screw up, now's the time. Now's the time to screw up as often and as frequently as you can. I often say, fail fast, fail often, screw up, because it is not going to get any easier to be forgiven for that while everybody's experimenting. Don't screw up later. Screw up right now. So that's a great point, man.
I want to show our poll that the result is interesting because it seems that we are with a very optimistic group because people are thinking, okay, training investment will increase, not a big increase, and the decrease will not be a big decrease. So it is interesting because we are entering a recession. And one of the things that I learned from previous recessions is that the first place where people budgets are cut is in training, and the other is advertising. So it's something that always happens. I think it has to be with one thing, is that it's areas that is very hard to really understand the return on investment, and to prove it is complicated, and many times it is done as like a question of faith. Anybody wants to comment on this, or Sadiq, do you want to comment on this?
I'll throw a comment and then let's throw it out to the group here. But to the point, and I like the idea that it's going to increase. I think it's going to be a shift. So where we had the high intensity of labor around in-person, face-to-face, I think you'll see a lot more budgets shifting over to the digital side for sure, for all the reasons that are evident now, and it'll stay that way. So we'll see a shifting of the dynamics. But let's throw it out to the group and see what either comments or questions they have around this.
We prefer the questions to be with voice. There is a trick with Zoom that sometimes people don't know. If you press space key and hold it, you have the microphone while you're talking. And when you take out, microphone is muted. It's a nice trick. So any questions, any comment, any explanation of why you choose the increase or the decrease?
Hi, Ishtiaq here. May I talk, or someone?
Yes,
I think
please.
some. Okay.
Go ahead.
Actually, it's a very good topic, Flip. First of all, thank you very much. When we talk about training, we have to look from training industry and type of training also, because if you look globally, training is a very big industry and there are different types of training which is happening. If we forget right now digital or in-house training, a lot of trainings are dependent on the type of training. Like I'm not a professional trainer, but I do training because I'm from telecom, work with a very big telecom organization for 20 years with a lot of experience on telecom subjects. So I'm a very niche type of trainer. I can't do how to make money, or I can't do how to become a good communicator, but I can do a very good training on 5G, on telecom, on marketing and such things. One thing, I'm the one who put there that it is going to be decreased. Maybe I'm wrong, but why I'm talking about it, the place where I'm sitting in this part of the world, all the major companies are providing budget for the training because it is part of the KPI. When recession will come, companies are already decreasing the staff budget.
The sound is being cut now. Can you repeat? There is a problem with the sound. Now, Ishtiaq, your sound is not good at this point. I think you were talking about 5G. I think you needed 5G now. It is impossible to hear. I'm so sorry. While maybe this is like a thing that will pass in a moment, I have a second question for you guys. If you go to the same website and put the code, I just changed the question. Yasim, can you have the floor? Also, it is very good if you put the hand up, like Yasim is doing. There is a virtual hand that you can use on the participants. You can raise your hand. So Yasim, tell us.
Yes, Filipe. I'm the one who actually I'm optimistic, and when I said yes, it will increase. But as you said, it will increase to a different way of training. As you all, both of you, even Sadiq, agreed on this. It will not be the classical, traditional face-to-face training, and trainers should learn fast during this time. It's an opportunity because it's not time to rest. It's time to exercise and practice. As the Chinese says, since it's Chinese, people who sweat more during peace will bleed less during wartime. So when I mean, hopefully when this is over, if you have the skills of using digital training, that will benefit you a lot. So it's time to learn how to do this, and there are plenty of softwares and techniques and courses available for you to learn how to do that if you don't know how to do that right now. This is to be honest, what I'm doing nowadays. I'm learning on how to create e-learning courses. And one thing I can share with you, my approach that will hit the 4 points you mentioned, Sadiq, which is faster, better, cheaper, and effective. Now, instead of we can use the flipped classroom methodology in training. If you're not familiar with the flipped classroom is used in schools where the material is taught through a video on YouTube or whatever, and the students do the exercise in the classroom. So that's why they call it flipped. They don't teach in the classroom, and they take homework to do at home. No, they will learn at home and then come and do the exercises in school. We can use the same concept with training, but instead of exercises, we can do the coaching. So we will do, like, you can do sessions of videos and then ask them to watch and then apply and coach on how they used, like, your communication skills, your presentation skills, or whatever soft skills or even technical skills you're using.
Totally agree.
That's my thought of it.
Yes, you know what? That is a very old method, but very old. Let me explain this, because this is considered now very innovative. But let's go to ancient Greece. So what happened in ancient Greece? We had a master and we had disciples, and the disciples would come to the master, and that was living in another place, and they would bring their own reflections of what they read, of what they experiment, and they would have an interaction with the master that would debate questions with them, and even give some extra questions that they would go to their own place, walk for a day or two or whatever, and think about it, reflect about it, prepare for the next meeting with the master. Because one of the things that we created a system that is a kind of factory system, where there is the factory worker is the trainer or is the professor that is there to say over and over the same thing. So there is this movie of Charlie Chaplin that is Modern Times, that there is a scene where he's like screwing the same bolt. Okay, it's always the same, always the same. And he during his sleep, he's doing the same movement. Okay, he's like sleeping and doing the same movement. And we laugh and we say, "Oh, this is a factory. There is like this kind of the machines are changing this, so stupid work is not done." But the interesting thing is that in training and in classrooms, people are still doing stupid work because they are not using this method of flipped classroom. So they go to a place and they say one thing, and they go to the next room and they say exactly the same thing, and they go to the next room and they say exactly the same thing, and they go next year to the same 3 rooms and they say exactly the same thing. And this is basically modern times applied to training. So this is something that I firmly believe that this is the way to change it, like you were saying. But there is also another thing, is that generations have to be prepared on that. Because I see that sometimes it's not only the teachers and the trainers that are the blockage. There is blockage also on the other side, because there is inertia. Things have been always the same way. Sitting in the room and somebody will say the truth. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Sardik?
I agree. And I was just going to mention to you, I think there's E. Holmes said that he didn't see the second question.
But it's available. Some people are answering. So I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe it's Murphy's Law, you know, if something has to go wrong, it goes wrong.
Yeah. One of the interesting things, what Yasim said and what you just said, Filipe, is I think what this is going to really do for us is it's going to challenge all of us to think about how do we adapt our skills to meet those evolving needs of our client base. Most of the time, trainers get stuck in design methodologies, or maybe they lack the design skills at all, and they just put stuff together. And traditionally, they've been able to get away with that. One of my thinkings on this is that that's going to be very difficult, at least in the near term. And when I say near term, I'm talking even after vaccine, probably for the next 18 months after a vaccine is introduced. So you got a potential, what we're hearing now, anywhere, if the vaccine is 18 months out, roughly 12 to 18 months. So let's say a 3-year period. For the next 2 to 3 years, we could potentially see a need for a rapid deployment process, where you're going to have to address needs and really simplify. And so what do those workflows look like? And so for the trainer who doesn't know exactly how the workflows work for the people that they're training, this is going to be pretty problematic, because they're going to need to be more, this is where performance consulting comes into place. So one of the specific skills that I think that training professionals, and I'll just go ahead and say it because I've been saying this for a long time, but now under pain is going to happen, is that trainers who are just trainers and don't understand how workflows happen, it's going to be problematic, because you won't know how to make the changes. And when people come to you and say, I need training, and you only got this amount of time and it has to be remote, that's going to add so much complexity to most trainers. They don't know how to figure out the process and to re-engineer workflows. So like Yasim said, if you're not taking the time not only to become knowledgeable around digital deliveries, but how workflows happen, the performance process, that's an angle that a lot of trainers don't have. And then I'm going to throw this out here too for everyone to consider. Even though you might learn the tools and techniques of digital delivery, can you facilitate? Do you actually have the skills to facilitate and not be a boring talking head? And that's going to be a problem for a lot. And I say a lot, probably 60% of all training professionals are going to be the type that get on and do a webinar like this and go blah, 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 without asking questions, without making a dialogue, having a dialogue and using all the tools that these things have, whether it's, are you skilled at not only asking questions and that sort of thing, but are you able to use all the different breakout rooms and virtual deliveries and all the different ways you can be interactive? If you don't have those skills on top of facilitation, on top of workflows, understanding the workflows, it's going to be a scary moment for you.
One of the things that when I did my the trainer course, the person that was my trainer, this was 96, and he was saying like, oh, I don't do my own PowerPoints because PowerPoint is a very complex program.
Mhm.
And for several years, I have been saying that we as trainers have to have the ability to create content, for instance, videos, training videos by ourselves. And this, because nowadays is as hard as PowerPoint back in the 90s, but
Mhm.
most people don't realize this and don't realize that, for instance, if I want to give feedback to my students before a class or after a class, it is easier if I do it like a video and I put it on Google Doc or something like that, and they have access through a link. And it's easier. What normally people do, they write an extensive email with some images or something like that. And the problem is that we lack that human touch. And when we go to younger generations, they are much more multimedia than older generations.
Yeah,
So our competition is completely different
totally.
in terms of their attention span.
Yeah, in fact, to your point, and I'm gonna throw a plug out there. I have no stake in the game, but ATD, for those of you who are familiar with ATD, the Association for Talent Development. If you're not familiar, I'm going to assume many of you are, but if you're not, they're the largest professional association in the world for training professionals and consultants. They asked me, I'm an author, they published one of my books, and so they asked me to do a review and endorse, potentially, if I like the book, a book that's about to come out. The title of the book is Leading the Learning Function. And what they did was they took, it's a compilation of authors, 31 different contributors who are part of the ATD forums, which is it's a group that gets together and they collaborate and share. And so they all contributed, and this book is impressive. I just finished it and did the endorsement yesterday. The reason I'm bringing this up is in chapter, I think it was 24. Chapter 24, Changing Times, Innovation or Innovate for Impact. What they did in that single chapter was they talked about all the different things that are going to be required skill set wise and different ways of delivering training, whether it's what you were describing, Filipe, was micro learning. So if we don't have the skills to produce short 8-minute videos or something that can be pushed to mobile phones, because where is learning happening? Right here now. In Asia and in places overseas, when I say overseas, outside the US is much more prevalent than here in the US. But if we don't have the capability of doing bundling, they cited micro learning, short bursts that you can read while you're on a train, a bus, whatever, a commute. If you're not capable in your skill sets of doing that, that's going to be, the future is now. And so that book, I think when it finally comes out, it'll be I would recommend it because I've read it in a pre-read here, and it's awesome, but it talks to all the things we just have been talking about so far.
By the way, in that, we have to have this attitude of always learning. Let me give you very fast some resources that are the ones that I like that normally are not thought as learning resources. Spotify, YouTube, of course. And because you find a lot of that micro learning. Actually, I created a long time ago in 2003 a thing that is knowledge spills methodology. That was micro learning already. Basically we have tacit knowledge inside organizations and how you pass it to people, and using multimedia tools. And for instance, I like to use a program called Camtasia Studio that records the screen. So for instance, if you want to explain how some interface in a computer works, that is fantastic because you record the screen and you can narrate what you are doing, what is very good. So this kind of tools help really to create these micro learning experiences that are very easy, that are very available. You can, even if you don't have this software, another tip, you can use Zoom for that. So you can capture a screen, record by yourself, and you can have this kind of screen recording experience. Let me give you another tip that is one also that many times people don't know. I like very much one app that is Pocket. A lot of people know Pocket as goes like this. You are reading an article in a website and you don't have time and you put it on the Pocket. And so you can read it afterwards. What many people don't know is that Pocket has the ability to read the article for you. So when you are walking or going or commuting or something, the software can read the article. So imagine
you just gave me the best tip all day, man. That's a good one. I'm getting that right now.
It's very funny because I work in 3 languages. I work in Spanish, in Portuguese, and English. And Pocket has the ability of, let's imagine that I have a playlist of articles, and the first one is in Portuguese, then in English, then in Spanish, then in English, then in Portuguese. He switches languages automatically. I don't need to. He understands the language and more, can predict the time that will take to read it. So when you start an article, you know that this article will take 20 minutes to read it or 3 minutes to read it. So you
and just checking, it's just called Pocket. That's it, right?
Pocket. There is the app, and there is the extension on Chrome. So when you are browsing, you can click on a button and it selects, and it's already available on your phone, on the app, on the Pocket app.
And that's the value of doing these things, because I had not heard of that, and I listen, I read all the time, I listen to podcasts. I just downloaded it. Thank you.
No, my pleasure.
That's good stuff, man.
Yes, Sim.
Yes, I will add to you, Philip. You can also use Audible. I've been using it since 2000, and now they have a daily deal, so books are reduced to 80%. So they have good deal. Audible podcast, as you said, Sadiq, it's excellent. So there are lots of good podcasts you can listen to. I have a weekly podcast, but it's in Arabic. It's about management, and I use that in training. So I can, before that, like instead of video, I tell them to listen to this episode that talks about this topic, and then tomorrow we're gonna discuss it. Some people listen to it or whatever. Linda is a good training company that now I think LinkedIn, they had a deal with LinkedIn.
Now it's LinkedIn Learning.
Yes, and it's 1 month free. You can take courses. In addition, for recording screen, I can suggest the PowerPoint. If you have PowerPoint 365, there's a tool inside it, record, and you can record. And I've started to take courses on YouTube, actually free courses on YouTube, on how to use PowerPoint. And there are excellent tips for making PowerPoint videos and animation, not just boring, but actually you can use the add-on on PowerPoint. If you didn't use it, there are some 3D characters that you can use them, and you can record your voice. The tip is always to make your your video or presentation less than 10 minutes. As Sadiq said, 8 minutes, 10 minutes maximum. Yeah. So make your course sandwiches, small 10 minutes, and then you can add your coaching session to that.
Well said.
Thank you. This is what is great about trainers together, because we always learn with each other, and we have to be humble enough in this world to learn also with our students, our participants, because we live in a world that it is impossible to know everything. So I create normally even communities with my students where they are let's say, a kind of my radars. They are finding things that I wouldn't find by myself, or would take much more time, because I don't see 1,000 pages per day or something like that. Let me share with you our results for now in terms of so basically everybody is expecting a increase on online for sure. That's not a surprise from what we were talking. So it is important also to have this kind of skills nowadays. Any other question? Any other comment? Because we will have a third question, and time is flying. What is a good sign? Gwen that is raising her hand. Yeah, Gwen.
Yeah,
please.
sorry. I actually think that after this is all over, we're going to see an increase in in-classroom training just because people are starved for that in-person connection. And then I think things are going to level off. I think that that's just what's going to happen is people are just going to be like, oh my God, people. And they're just going to want to go to every conference they can and just interact with people in the same room as opposed to over. I think we're going to come out of this with a little bit of Zoom fatigue. That we're tired of our headphones. We want to actually see somebody in person and actually talk to them without fear of hug. And I live in Hawaii, so you can imagine how difficult it is here, where we're such a touchy-feely culture. Everything is aloha, and you kiss and hug everybody. It doesn't matter. This has been really hard for us to be like social distance and put on a mask and not say hi to your neighbor. And I think that after all of this is over, I think what's going to happen is in-person gatherings are actually going to increase, and then probably they'll level off within maybe about 6 months after this, where we'll probably find maybe that happy medium. What's going to happen, though, is the reason why I say it's going to increase is because all those naysayers who said you couldn't do this training online, now you said you can. And it's actually going to increase the accessibility for people with disabilities who have been harping for years about how they can join the workforce if you just allow them to work from home. And companies have said, no, working from home doesn't work. Well, now you can. And so now people with disabilities are coming to the forefront saying, now will you listen to us? Now will you give us a chance? Now will you employ us? Now will you train us? So I think that we're going to see a spike and then an even off. But I think the even off is going to be much, much different than what we've seen before.
When it is very interesting that we are giving camp, RD camp. 1 second, and I will pass the microphone. It is interesting that normally we see that we are missing this human touch, and I believe that we will create new moments, and I think that maybe now we appreciate more the face-to-face, because what I see nowadays, you go to any restaurant, you go to any bar, and any age, it's not only the kids, they are with this. They are at the bar with other people, and they are like talking with the others that are far, far, far away. And they are not talking with each other. So I think that this is a kind of lesson that we have to make it worth. When we have a personal interaction, it should be something that will be value, not something that we have to do it. So I think the balance between online and offline will be like that. This is my opinion. Camp, I only see RD camp. I don't know. You were like putting your hands up.
Yes, so Raymond Kemp, I am also in Virginia. I'm actually in Southern Virginia, Virginia Beach. First of all, let me tell you thank you for hosting this and advertising on LinkedIn, so I was able to.
Your sound is not the best.
Okay.
Probably.
I got one adjustment I think I can make here and get. Here. All right, how about that?
Perfect.
Hey, money. So back to being technologically savvy and agile. So I thank you again for advertising and making it available on LinkedIn. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known. Naturally, I'm a military member. I just recently retired after 33 years, and my comfort zone is, of course, in front of people and engaging that way. I really agree with a lot of what Gwen was saying, and not to be a contrarian, I'm not as optimistic as it's going to be 6 months before people turn back to this Zoomology that we're getting into now and technology, because there is an interesting ability now to kind of filter the level of conversation and the content with which you are communicating with people. When you're in a group, you're kind of stuck there. But with the internet machine, I've got access to jump into different groups and get to a higher or the level of communication that I would prefer. And you captured what I was going to say, Filipe, when you said that it's about quality and relevant content. and that is the discriminator, I think, when it comes down to using Zoom and other technologies to do training and to have meetings that you just do not have in a big group environment. And one other thing I'd just like to say is that I'm not sure if we'll ever get back to addressing groups of 5,000 or so, based on the level of concern of bringing back the same pandemic or something similar to that. I think there's a lot of scar tissue that's going to take quite a while to heal, and so I do believe, and I thank you for the websites that we've been sharing in the chat and the perspective on getting our technological skills up to speed so that we can continue to be relevant within the field of training. I do a little less training and more public speaking, but this is extremely interesting to me. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And Filipe, can I?
Before you comment, only to say that I'm going to put the third question because we are 16 minutes away from. So there is a third question that will pop up in a moment, and so you can answer. So it's a kind of output from this discussion from your side. So, sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and RD, thank you for your service to the country, first of all. And so I just wanted to point that out. And I agree with everything everyone said. One of the interesting things about this whole digital thing, and I also noticed some comments here in the comments, I agree. This is going to be really fascinating to see how we all adapt. So if we take I'm a risk manager too. I grew up in the whole world of risk management in the insurance industry. And if we take the most conservative focus and say that I need to be digital, I need to have those digital skills, that's one angle. And if you take at least having enough to play the game, so to speak, and have enough skills in the digital space to play that game and do it well, not just play it and be boring, but do it well. Just imagine that what that does when we do snap back, and let's say we don't stay digital as much as we think we all might, and that there's some happy medium where we do balance out, as Gwen said. What that does do by allowing you to take the time to develop your skill sets is it allows you to be flexible, and you now, to Felipe's point, you can add more value in a variety of different ways. And I think that's another angle. The training professional who is multifaceted and has the ability to adapt and show adaptation and evolution in their skill set over time, that continuous learning, you're going to be highly prized, even in the scenario, because I see some of my friends, they're getting furloughed or losing their jobs in the training industry already. We see that here in the US. So I know that's happening, and I've been telling some of them privately that you're going to be okay, but you've got to know how to market your skill sets, and you've got to have a diversity of skill sets. So the more you can add value to be faster, better, cheaper, more effective and efficient, it makes it easier to stand out and above the crowd. So keep doing what you're doing, and you're going to be fine. It's going to be painful because that's the way change happens, but keep doing what you're doing. Good stuff.
One thing that we were talking about microphone and having problems with microphone. I want to give you an extra tip. I just wrote, and now it's close to my message, crisp microphone, KRISP. This is actually a website. This is an app that you can use on your iPhone and also on Google Chrome, but not in Android. I don't know why. But imagine this, that you have to do a presentation or whatever, and there is a background sound, a kid's, dog, things like this. This app does noise cancellation. So you use your normal microphone and it goes through there. So I'm using my, by the way, this is a microphone that's a Blue Yeti, and I can change for this because I don't have a background noise. But if I put, now I think you hear me well, but it's a different type of sound because it's doing noise cancellation. I don't have noise in the background. So it is a little bit different. But if you are, let's say, worst condition, you are in Starbucks and you need to do a webinar, you can use this.
That's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. The
What,
Blue
what,
Yeti is an awesome
what
microphone.
our friend Full for Learning, can you are showing something that I cannot understand exactly what it is. You are showing your microphone. Everybody's showing microphone.
Everybody's got a mic. You show me yours, I'll show you mine. There it is. There you go. Great microphones.
I use the Blue Yeti. It's Blue Yeti is excellent, but you know, for podcasting, this is dynamic, so it will only take voice sound from here. By the way, the Blue Yeti, many people use it like this. It's wrong. You should use it like this because the mics are on the side. Yes. So many people I've seen. Yeah, I've seen people use Blue Yeti and like this. For this mic, it's dynamic, so you speak to in front of it. But for Blue Yeti, you speak like this, and it depends if you're making it dynamic or you're making it omni. That takes the sound around the mic.
Points. And
May I
for the
make a
rest of you,
suggestion?
Yes, please.
yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Joseph Barone. My company's name is A Fool for Learning. Filters are very helpful. They're not that expensive to have for your microphone. So get a filter.
Yeah, to don't have that thingy.
Good point. And while we're in that topic, why don't we just talk about, for those of you who are going to be doing more digital type stuff, I think you can tell from Filipe's video and from my video, we've got lights. So you should have in-home or in-studio type lights. They're very inexpensive. So he's going to show you a ring light, very inexpensive. And then instead of using ring lights, which you see some in the background over there, but I'm actually using side lights here. I can't back up because I've got them right on top of me, but I've got a whole set of lights to illuminate my face so that it's not too dark. So yeah, you should have all these little basic tools in place for digital type presentations, and then you just set it up. You have to play with it and figure out where the best lighting is, and do what you need to do to make it look okay.
Because sometimes
great as this guy.
There are people that are complaining about their cameras, but the problem is the light.
Yeah, it's the light.
Yes, Luana.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm Luana Harris, and I'm actually in Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma. So a couple of things. Speaking of ATD, I'm definitely a member of ATD, and Sardik knows I'm actually the president of our Tulsa chapter. So if you don't know anything about ATD, now is the time to jump on. And there's a lot of different learning resources about what is to come and what some of the things that they're doing right now. One of the skills that I have been learning and been kind of harping on for the last few, I would say, months, even before this, is the video production. So I've been looking at how do I produce, how do I increase my content, even on YouTube, and really just understanding what do I need to do to make sure that I'm increasing my skill of video production. So it's right now just a little bit understanding of that, but you never know. In a couple of years that you might see my name in lights on a movie, so you just never know. But that video production, being able to upload, because I am a team of one, being able to upload my videos up to YouTube, and I've learned how to create my own thumbnails. I've learned how to use there's Canva that I do my own flyers. I do all of my own my own type of stuff, so marketing and all of that. So that's just something that I've been working on, is that video production. So if you have anything else that that would help me in that area, I'm definitely open to it.
Thank you. Luana was talking, and I thought another resource that you might I'm writing on the chat, Kahoot. It's learning games. It's very interesting. I want to share, because we are, and maybe it would be interesting also to discuss some of the results that we had here. I want to share what you put here as, let's say, your takeouts from this. Luana, you see here, pay more attention to the trend reports put by ATD. become more intentional in offering more digital content, learn video production. I have been modifying my classroom presentation event into webinars, pre-work and post-work. Hadn't thought about video feedback. It's very powerful, the video feedback, because people are not expecting. So thank you for that addition. I'm already attending several online courses to enhance my digital skills. And I'm also planning to launch my own Facebook show, which is a series of interviews with Syrian entrepreneurs. If we talk about resilience, these guys are the best in resilience, believe me. So this is something that also is very interesting, that we live in a time that we can build our learning path. Never it was so easy to learn our learning path. And also we can build the learning path of a lot of people by being the trainers. So increase technological skills and presentation agility, learn how to do e-learning and interactive courses. A lot, it's not a surprise, goes to technology. I would like only to add that technology has been here for a long time. It hasn't been used to the full extent. Think about the Office that Yasin was talking about, Office 356, that more or less everybody has it, but it's not used to the full extent. The people that know how to use it a lot, use 10% of the abilities. So it is very important to take this opportunity to do a lot of tryout. Try. There is a lot of fantastic things. For instance, we were trying here, I have been using this for some time, this METI, but I've used it in rooms with a lot of people, but it's a very nice way of getting in touch. For instance, I was watching another webinar where a company was explaining that in order to have their remote workers to have like a kind of team building, they put a kind of question every morning. What is your state of mind? What is how are you doing? Is the system on? Something like that. And they use Metimeter. So in 5 minutes, they have like a kind of wake up with them. So there is a lot of things that we can try out. And because everybody is online, it is easy to have people to be our guinea pigs, let's say.
Indeed. If I may, Filipe, just one other tool for those of you who are doing video production. If you want to have stabilized type video, for example, if you're walking and when you're walking, if you're trying to use your iPhone and it bounces and all that because of your hand and body movement, if you'd like to get a very inexpensive stabilizer that you could use to shoot videos of yourself or of your trainees, something like a gimbal, and these are all the rage now. It's a stabilizing gimbal, and this is one that I have. Actually, I have two different ones, and all you do is you put your phone in there and then turn it on.
DJI, correct?
Yes.
I have one equal, so that's why I was recognizing.
Yeah. So you put your phone in there and it stabilizes, and that allows you to shoot video, and the video comes out pretty doggone good, and you can shoot it in 4K in your phone, which is going to give you the opportunity, if you do edit it, say in Canva or some other tool like that, when you do zoom in, you can do post-production zooming in so that it doesn't pixelate and it keeps the HD quality of the video. So it doesn't matter if I'm shooting a wide shot, I can then post-production in Camtasia zoom in on a face, a headshot, or something like that. So a lot of us have that. If you don't have that, it's a pretty inexpensive tool. I think that thing costs like maybe, I don't know, $100 US or something.
Yeah.
And you can use those. I do those in my training classes and in my speaking events. So I capture video, I have people capture video for me with something like that. That way you don't have to hire expensive photographers and videographers if you don't want to.
Nice. By addition, very fast. Also, I'm putting here on the website Content Samurai. It's quite amazing because it uses artificial intelligence to edit video. So you say stuff and it puts, for instance, the subtitles at the same time that you are saying. to create short promotional videos is absolutely fantastic. They have like a trial version of 7 or 14 days tryout because it is very interesting.
So I know we're getting close to the end of time.
Yes.
Do you want to start to wrap up and just kind of tie things back together? What are some of the key things that, from your perspective, Filipe, what are some of the key things that we as training professionals need to be doing to prepare for the post-pandemic situation?
Well, I think that we have to be very open to redefine ourselves, because the world will not be the same. And people that think that things will be the same, we will have the same types of gatherings. What was said here, that actually maybe people will have some problems in the next year or the next 2 years, or forever, to be in very crowded places. I think those people that were claustrophobic and compulsive now are like saying, I was right all the time.
Yeah.
So that will be a problem. So if we start waiting for the good old days to come back, maybe we will be unemployed.
Yeah. And I would add to that, it's all about learning, adapting. It is what it is for right now. Get the skills that you need to stay in the game, and then take your game to the next level, faster, better, cheaper, more effective and efficient. Whatever it is that you're doing, it should meet those 4 criteria. If it doesn't, you should question why you're doing it. And if you're not doing it, then you should question why you're not changing, because the world is changing, and the fastest way to extinction is to stay the same. So I just leave you with that. And I also want to thank everybody, all of you, for coming on, and your comments, your chat, your text here, and everything. So Filipe, how can they get in touch with you and I if they want to maintain and continue the conversation?
Well, my parents did a wonderful job in terms of search engine optimization, because if you Google my name, you will find me in Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram very fast. And I have a website that is actually my name, .com. So over there you can connect with me in all networks and continue this conversation, because we have to have this spirit of learning with each other. Because actually, if this crisis is teaching us something, is that we can only overcome together, not by ourselves.
Totally agree. And I'm typing in, so my name is a little bit different, so you have it. Same exact
But
thing.
you are Dr. Love.
Not a real doctor, but I play one at work. And, there's an inside joke with this whole Dr. Love thing. People can't remember my first name in the U.S., so most people in the U.S. would say, just start to call me Dr. Love. So if you want to call me Dr. Love, I'll take it. I'm not a doctor, but Sardeek is definitely there. And feel free to reach out to me as well on social media. Just look up my name, Google it. You'll find me. If you're in the U.S., you will not find my face in a post office. Those of you who are in the U.S., you get that joke. You know what I mean. That's where convicts are in the U.S. on the post office. Anyway, but yeah, let's stay in touch. Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. Join me. Let's continue this conversation. This is just the beginning. And Filipe, thank you for putting this together, man. This was fun, and it's fun to make some new friends. And I love the names of Fool for Learning. I love it. That's awesome. That's cool.
So thank you very much, everybody. I will make the video also available through my YouTube channel. So if you want to see something that you didn't get well, it's okay. You can see it back. Thank you very much for your participation, and see you around, because
thank
now
you,
the world
everybody.
is
It's a
small.
pleasure. Look forward to seeing you on LinkedIn and everywhere else.
Bye-bye.
Bye.